Hey guys, Tarke Cat, role-playing Shav's Wrappings, aka I'm really fucking tired here. And I've literally just hit maps, level 70, Atlas, and I've been experimenting with Soulrend Bane and all of that stuff. I've really been enjoying Soulrend. I did get a tablet drop for me. My links are kind of all over the place, so I want to show you what GMP and Unleash looks like. Unleash is a really cool new support gem, and because of the way that Soulrend plays, you always have at least 2 to 3 stacks because you don't press it very often. And it just feels really cool that you like shoot out a whole bunch. Now, is it really worth doing? I don't necessarily think so. I keep taking Unleash in and out of my links. It looks really cool. Like, it definitely looks the coolest. And for really big open maps, it's nice because it gives you a wider spread. I'm currently using Eldritch Battery, which is how I'm casting my spells, and my 2 reserved auras are Malevolence, which is the new damage over time aura, which gives a bit of skill effect duration. And then I'm also using Grace for a bit of defense. If you don't want to use Grace, you can use Zealotry for more spell damage. And I'm basically using Soulrend for everything, including single target. I do also use a Bane linked to Despair and Efficacy or something, I believe. I can't remember exactly. Just to help on the single target. I also have a Evolved Blight set up. I'm probably going to have an Essence Drain set up as well. People keep asking me what's the best way of doing it. I don't know, it's day 1, guys. But basically, if you enjoy Soulrend, if you enjoy Bane, you'll be good. Just play whichever one you prefer. When it comes to early leveling, Bane definitely feels smoother to level with. Soulrend feels pretty bad until you get GMP. So if you tried Soulrend when you first got it at Gravicious and it felt kind of lackluster, wait until you get GMP, then try it out again. And personally, I've been really enjoying it. I've actually been preferring it over Bane, although Bane is ridiculous. The only reason being is it looks cool, and it just feels nicer in these big open layouts. Obviously, for some layouts, Bane will feel better. Bane has a very fast cast time, and that was just the 3-link Bane, by the way, which just completely destroyed that rare. So generally, I would say use both, and just primarily use the one you prefer more. I'm not using Swift Affliction on my Soulrend. I think that skill effect duration is probably going to end up being one of the best ways of scaling it. But currently, the only skill effect duration I have is from Malevolence, being a Trickster, and the Efficacy skill gem. I'm unsure whether it's worth rooting down to skill effect duration in Scion or not. This is only a tier 1 map, who cares? So yeah, that's kind of that. I'm also having this weird bug that whenever I leave a map, I get teleported back down to the bottom, which is really annoying. Hello. What's my opinions on the League? The League is cool. It's really confusing though. Like really stuff. That's actually quite a nice amulet. So it's a bit like disorientating getting used to everything. I think I really like it though. I haven't had any good items from it yet. But it's definitely, if you like just killing mobs, it's great for that. And it's basically every map has an extra map in it. So in that sense, it's pretty bloody good. When it comes to what order I got my Ascendancies in, that's another question that I'd be getting a lot. Since I knew that I wanted to play Soulrend as my main focus, I rushed towards Prolonged Pain, and I'm getting Escape Artist from my Uberlab. Chat's now memeing me because I said I haven't got any good items from it. So day 1, I've gotten a Tabular drop from Kavass, so I guess that's a pretty good item to get from Kavass. I've had a Sin's Rebirth Flask drop in Act 2, which I guess is also a pretty good drop. And I also had a Nurse card drop in Act 6. So if you ignore those drops, I haven't had really any good drops from the new league, so I think the new league's pretty shit. I haven't had any exalts or anything, you know. It's worth running. I think it's definitely worth running. You get some pretty nice stuff from it. All the new skills seem to be pretty popular, though. I haven't had anyone playing the new skills report bad things about it. Stormburst has definitely been like the sleeper OP. I'm probably going to play Stormburst or Wave of Conviction as my second build, but I'm going to be pushing this pretty far. One thing which is pretty nice about this setup, as a Chaos Damage Over Time Trickster, is you can, as long as you're leveling Essence Ray and Soulrend and Bane, like as long as you've got them all leveling somewhere, whenever you get bored of one, you can just swap into the other, because they all scale off the exact same stuff. They all scale off area and degen and all of that good stuff. So the trees, that was a bit premature. The trees are all fairly identical. And then you can see for single target, I just spam Soulrend and then press Bane. I want to get a trigger weapon and have an automated Essence Drain for extra damage. I think I might try a full like Bane and Tabula setup at some point as well, see if I prefer that to Essence Drain. But it's all kind of like, I'm just feeling things out. Everyone's just kind of feeling it out. But the new stuff is definitely strong, that's for sure. And, yeah. I'm trying to think of any complaints that I have with the new league. I think one complaint that I have seen with the new league, which will affect some players more than others, with the way that synthesis items work and the way that you like turn them into fractured items, you want to collect a whole lot of them. So if you're someone with very few stash tabs, then that's pretty rough, right? Because then it's like you're suddenly hoarding all of these random rare items. So if you're on limited stash tabs, then that's a fat F for you. If you've got a couple of quads around, it's not going to affect you too much. If you're someone who's ever done the Chaos recipe before, then you're perfectly equipped for this league. But yes, it's a very confusing league to start off with a lot of loot bloat. So if you're someone who doesn't enjoy picking up lots of random useless items, then you're probably in for a little bit of pain. So, yeah. I'll run a couple more maps with slightly different gem setups just so you can kind of like get a full idea of what Soulrend is like. But currently I'm pretty happy with the skill, and oh, I'm missing one of these beasts. I'm pretty happy with all it turned out. Let's try a map without Unleash, so you can see what faster casting is like. One thing I also need to talk about a little bit is, I guess I'm going to show you Bane as well. So this is just 3-link Bane and a +1. Bane is really good. Like, Bane is really disgusting. Where's that beast hiding? Like, Bane does do really dirty damage. So if you wanted to go pure Bane, yeah, you could. Very, very easily. Alright, where's this bloody beast? Oh god, Einhar. I sometimes wish that Einhar had the, like, little pointy arrow. There we go. So this is just Bane, not using anything else. It's pretty good, right? The new skills are very strong. I think they're probably stronger than Vortex Cold Snap, or at least at this point in the league, they feel stronger than my Vortex Cold Snap character that I league started on last league. So that's a very good sign.
Oh, hello.
When it comes to Bane supports, is Trickster better, is Occultist better? Because I get that question a lot as well. It's really down to, that's nice, personal preference. So,
Good travels, friend.
The advantages that Trickster has over Occultist, Trickster has more cast speed. Cast speed isn't that big of a deal on Bane, but on Soulrend is very slow to cast. So you'll notice right away being like, oh my god, this is very sluggish compared to a Trickster.
First fishing trip alone.
I would maybe recommend trying Blight cast while channeling if you're doing an Occultist version with 0 cast speed. But if you're going Bane, as I said, it's not really that big of a deal. Also, Profane Bloom makes up for like missing clear speed. Since it's like, well, you know, who cares, because Profane Bloom fills in the gaps kind of thing. I've been mostly full clearing these zones as well, just as an aside, just because I've been thinking it's just like, it's extra mobs, right? Just kill the mobs, get extra loot, get extra XP, seems like a good thing to do. I was meant to be using Bane with this map, wasn't I? Not Soulrend. Okay. Let's try and do a Bane map. This is 3-link Bane map. Just a +1 wand. And if you didn't know the +1 wand recipe, it is any blue wand and a chaos gem. That's it. Really strong to level. And then for rares, you want a little bit of supplementary damage. But yeah, it's pretty good. Ow. The main thing which I like about Soulrend is the fact that you can off-screen very safely with it. And because of its homing nature, you can very easily like clear 2 or 3 screens ahead without really realizing. Which is always a good thing, especially if you're playing in hardcore. Then that's pretty solid. Alright, okay, sorry. Let's try and stick to Bane. And I fucked up my abyss. Very good. One thing I was going to say about Trickster versus Occultist for Bane, since I've also had this question. Tarke isn't Bane terrible on Trickster because of Hexproof. There's a chess piece called Cosprey as well that you can use, which lets you apply curses to Hexproof enemies. You can also roll over it. Totems are also a good example of this, since you cannot actually curse totems, which is a big F for Bane. So that's why I also think it's important to have a mix of like Soulrend Bane, Essence Drain, or whatever. Because if you're a pure Bane build, and you know you're against a big totem boss and you can't apply any curses to it, you're missing out on a lot of your multipliers. So then you have that Essence Drain or that Soulrend to like back you up, you know, which is a pretty big deal. The fully optimal links for Bane is also actually using only 1 curse. So like the fully optimal pure DPS link would be Bane linked to Despair, then 4 normal supports. That's because the 47% curse more multiplier actually does have diminishing returns on it. So it's something like, someone did the math, it was on like 47%, then 30-something percent, then 20-something percent. So if you're applying more than 3 curses with Bane, it very quickly becomes not very good. So that's all things to consider. But yeah, TLDR, I really like Toxic Rain. I really like Bane. And I'll give you some updates once I actually really know more about the character. This is the skill tree. I picked up all this good stuff. I then grabbed Eldritch Battery. And then I started slowly ploddering along. And I'm now going to get Mind Over Matter once I have my Uber Lab. And I have some Energy Shield. So, yeah, that's that. I have a private league running. If you want to join an Exhibition League on my Twitch chat, have a good day. Bye-bye.